Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, Jon Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Wise Kracks. Jon Orlando here with the Crack Man in studio where we belong, Bill. This is our home. This is where we belong.
It feels good. I thought you were going to be at the poker again. I was going to be talking to you over Skype or whatever we used last week.
You sent me a, hey, buddy, don't burn yourself out with poker message last week.
Well, because I know what it was.
Yeah. And I did, by the way, burn myself out.
Yeah, 17 years ago I did that. I got a free seat in the World Series of Poker through an online site.
Yeah.
And I went into the main event. I cashed, actually.
Which is, like, you just throw that away like it's, like, not a big deal.
It was back when there was 4,000 people or something.
It's still a big deal.
Yeah. So I came in 177th.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, do you understand? To me, that makes you poker god. Like, that's
God.
what I want to do.
My first things, though, was poker. I was always, I was a poker. I grew up, poker, table games, blackjack,
Right.
poker, head-to-head blackjack in my garage when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Playing poker with my buddies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The bluff factor was also very, very big.
Yeah.
You develop a little bit of reputation for being maybe a more savvy or seasoned gambler.
Yeah.
And you can get away with those bluffs more often, where everyone knows that about it now. I think it's a tougher game to play.
Right.
Tough way to make an easy living, they say. So I know there's a lot of burnout.
Yeah.
You go from tournament, then you want to all of a sudden, when the tournament's over, those endorphins are still there, and you want to join something else, and you're like,
yeah,
wow, I just played 2 days, and now you're going to join a single table and blow your money or something.
I've always respected them, but like every year this is my third year of playing. Last year, obviously nothing, but 2018, 2019, I played in bunch of different events, and I did well. But no World Series cash yet. So when I say I did well, so just so people listening understand, and I know you know this, there's a bunch of single table satellites that you can pay $125 to win 1,000 or basically 1,100. You can play $275 to win like 2,700. You can play
$1,050 to get.
You can play $1,050 to get into the main, which I won my seat in the main like that in 2019 or 2018, and then I won my seat in the main in a $140 satellite. Where 1,400 people played, the top 140, top 10% advanced to get seats in the main event. That's how so I play in those kind of things. So I win those, and then when I get in the big one, I don't cash, and it's really frustrating. But it's very stressful. I was explaining to Vanessa, like, super stressful making these decisions. Like, it's fun and stressful at the same time.
Yeah, no. I the time that I did get in, I had minimal chips. And I know it was a slow playing, hand by hand, all the tables that were left to reach the money, which was, I think, 400 people reached the money back then. And then you just could take big gambles. Then people could start getting knocked out.
Right.
So I think it's still, you still want to acquire a lot of chips early because I think a lot of, I don't want to say dead money, but it might be the biggest poker tournament of the year with the quality of play, the difference in quality. I think you can actually get some. When I say biggest entry wise, so I think that it could be the biggest. Overlay, is that the right word of the quality of players? So I think people are nervous to be there in the beginning. I think you can acquire some chips in the beginning and build up a nice little stack. I think that's the goal of almost any tournament, but especially that type of tournament.
Yeah, and then you kind of switch gears at some point, right, and really tighten up to grind to the money, right? Like, I think my problem is I just play too many hands.
Yep. We'll hold it.
Yeah,
you play too many hands. I'm saying play a lot of hands in the beginning.
Right. No, in the beginning, because my
I don't know, though.
If I went back
your buddy Phil or something, seriously.
If I went back and looked at all like my texts to like Vanessa or people that I text along the way that want updates, it always sounds like this. I'm chip leader at my table. I'm still chip leader at my table. I'm crushing it. I made it through the dinner break. I moved to a new table. I'm still chip leader at the table. And then literally an hour later, I'm out.
I would never talk to you again if you gave me updates. I don't want to know no poker bad beat stories. I don't want to hear anything. I don't care. Most unbelievable thing. I was 995 to 1. I don't want to know anything. Just give me the results at the end.
Right. Tell me what
you
time
make the money.
Is.
Hey, I made the money. Congratulations, John.
Okay. Right.
All day long.
Right.
Because it's like almost you can't get all
pointless.
that time back.
Right.
But it's someone to talk to. I understand, and it's almost like a shrink.
A lot of people ask me. A lot of people are like, "Hey, how's it going? Whatever. How's it going?" I get
in the middle of the tournament.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate poker stories. But we've had some of the best poker players of all time on this show.
Yeah.
Phil Hellmuth, Daniel Grano.
Yep.
Mike Matusow.
Yep.
And some of the best tournament players of all time. Phil's probably
on fire right now. He's played in 4 or 5 events. He's cashed 3 of them.
Wow. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great. I seen him on Twitter last night. It was some kind of controversy. Something happened big.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Because people were coming to Mike Matusow came to his defense on Twitter last night. I just couldn't get into it.
Oh.
Yeah, something happened.
Really?
Yeah, something happened.
Okay.
With Phil. But yeah, so those guys are at a different level.
Yeah.
Especially Phil. So
yeah,
a great tournament player. This was about the controversy was exactly. It was about ridiculing someone, I think.
Oh.
Crying in the tournament. That's what he does.
Right. Poker Brat is his nickname.
I wasn't a big fan of that way of him playing and stuff. But when he came on the show, I had to see who really was.
He's a nice person.
He's a nice guy.
He's a super nice guy.
And he's very generous, too.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah.
So.
I saw him, I passed him in the hallway. And I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't even going to acknowledge him because he had his headphones on. And I was walking towards like the break room, and he was walking towards the tournament area. So I was just going to leave him alone. He actually saw me stop. Cool. He's like, John. I'm like, hey. I'm like, I was going to let you just be. I wasn't going to bug you. He's like, how you doing? Are you doing all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm hanging in there. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Cool. Yeah, he's cool.
Boxing. You attended a pretty good fight last Saturday, huh?
Listen, I almost didn't go, but that was why. So Wilder Fury won the first fight I watched on TV, and Fury clearly won in my eyes. I thought he clearly won.
Yep.
They got a draw.
Yep.
So they had a rematch, and in the rematch, the first fight went from pick'em to the next fight being Fury was like 250 or something like that, crazy, 2.5 to 1, and Fury proven that he should have been. He beat Wilder.
Yeah.
So. You didn't think there was ever going to be a fight again, but Wilder had a clause in his first contract that actually made it to be the second. If there's the second fight, this happens, then I get a chance at a third fight. So when it was first announced, I said, "Look at this! What a waste!
Right, just a money grab.
Money grab.
Right?
Pick up $5 million or something.
Right,
not $5 million. Unbelievable. The clause and the way it went down." Each fighter was going to make at least $30 million.
Really?
So, of course, Wilder. I don't blame him.
Right.
Get the cash. You make $30 million now. It's more money than you made in your career combined.
Right.
So, but I thought it was a cash grab. But then I started thinking, and I tweeted it out before the fight, too. I started thinking, though, Wilder, in this fight, would have to fight for more than just the $30 million in the fight purse if he's any kind of a man.
For sure.
He'd have to fight because he was a lot of talk all the way in his early career was talk and bravado and it's a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
You just lost. You lost the first fight. The second fight, you actually did lose officially. And now you lose again. What's your legacy? What are you leaving to your daughter and your, he fought for his manhood. He fought for, survival.
Yeah.
He fought for his legacy.
I think people forget with athletes across the board, even football, basketball, baseball, that is something that means something to them.
Does
They're
mean
competitors.
Something.
They're professionals.
Yeah.
They want to win. It's why they do what they do, and it's why they're so good at what they do. Michael Jordan wants to win. Kobe wants to win. LeBron wants to win. They want to win.
It is. It's more than money. Now, I'm not going to say it's more than money in this situation for him, but yeah, you would think that that's more than money. Exactly correct. So let me see if I can find this fight because people are asking me, hey, what do you think? What do you think about the fight? What do you think about what do you think is going to happen? So sure enough, I said right here it is before the fight. I think Wilder is more prepared than his last 2 fights, but I'm not betting against Tyson. I'm not betting against. Just here as a fan of the sport. 36 minutes to make life fair. I quoted Teddy Atlas as saying that he says, Teddy, great podcast this week. It's got 200,000 views here. It's been up 24 hours, so he's got a really good episode of breaking down the fight. And Teddy said the same thing. This guy fought for more than just like we just explained, more than the purse. And the fight was just, it was shocking to me. And then it was arguably, not arguably, there is no argument, the best fight I've seen in person ever.
Really?
I've never seen a fight like this.
Everyone seems to be saying the same thing.
I'm going to read you something here. This is a breakdown. It's from MMAfighting.com, actually. It's a breakdown of the third round, which I thought, after the third round, I thought Wilder was out on his feet, glassy-eyed, bloodshot, and I thought he was in giant trouble. Standing out on his feet means you're out, but you're standing up against the ropes. So I'm actually gonna read some parts of that right now. Fury hits Wilder with a clean right to the side of the head. Wilder's rocked and leaning on the ropes. He stumbles and hits the mat. That's a knockdown. Standing 10 count, and Wilder says he can continue. Fury right back on the attack. He has Wilder hurt again. 2 big punches by Fury to close the round, saved by the bell, literally, and stumbled to the corner.
Right.
So anyone like myself is saying
this is over.
He's going to come out. And so, not DraftKings. FanDuel was doing a sponsor of the fight and had live odds up for the whole fight. At the beginning of each round, they put the live odds up. Live odds came out at the start of the 4th round. Fury, who was a 3-1 favorite before the fight, is now 33-1.
Wow.
Yeah, come back 12-1 on the dog. That's, if you're going to bet. Yeah. There's only one way to bet there is Wilder. You can't bet on a 33-1 shot.
Sure.
Heavyweight fight. These guys are, both 6'7", 6'9", powerhouse guys. I'm going to read the 4th round. Left hand opens the 4th for Fury. Wilder flickering the jab out, but Fury is walking him down. Fury almost lands a KO uppercut, which that's what he's going for. He knows at the end of the 3rd round he had him. He's bullying Wilder against the ropes, just constantly leaning on him. By the way, fight time, he was 300 pounds. So just think a 300-pound guy on top of you, just leaning on top of you, leaning.
And tall, so he uses that leverage.
6'9".
Yeah.
Wilder's right is actually blocked. Jab by Fury, another jab from Fury. Wilder ties him up hard right by Fury. Wilder's in major trouble. 5-punch combo for Fury. Wilder's punches coming in very slow now. Wilder with a straight right out of nowhere, and Fury is hurt. Unreal. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Like Rocky.
Down
like a Rocky
he
movie.
Goes.
Wow.
Down he goes. 33-1 favorite.
Fury down.
Fury down he goes. Standing 10 count. He gets the gloves up. A jab by Wilder, because now you know what happens when that happens. Now you forget about all your fears, all your things. Now you want to kill him. Now you want to get him.
Yeah.
So jab by Wilder. He's throwing bombs now. Fury getting his head out of the way. One gets through, and Fury gets dropped again. When Fury got dropped for the 2nd punch, I would have bet a portion of my bankroll. He was not getting up.
Really?
It was a great punch. He went down, and the way he looked when he was on the ground, there's no way he's getting up. Maybe even a little bit, just a hair of a favorable count there, too. No one's really talking about that, so I'm sure I'm wrong. Another standing 10 count. He gets the gloves up, but the round is over.
Wow.
And the place is going crazy.
Round is over like Saved by the Bell?
Insanity. People going nuts. People going nuts. 33-1 shots. And even the guy I'm with, he's been around, he's an 80-year-old guy. He's been 60 years of going to these fights, 65 years.
This is the guy I met with you at the...
Paul.
Yep, okay.
It's over, he said. It's over.
Right.
Yeah, it's over. It's over.
Right.
Wilder gave up, and glassy-eyed. I'm surprised he even had the heart to get back up. That's the question, though. He had the heart to get back up, and he did. He showed everybody a lot of heart. He was more prepared than maybe even Fury that night. He was more prepared. Listen, people are calling it the best heavyweight fight ever. No, but in years and years, yes. I mean, we've had fights that were unbelievable over the years. Back, before we were born, we've had some. I mean, Max Schmeling and Joe Louis. I mean, there's so many great heavyweight fights. All the Ali fights years ago, Ali and Ali Foreman.
Sure.
These guys, were out on. They said that this was like death in the middle of the jungle. They're fighting. Of course, Ali Frazier. I can go on and on. There's so many great heavyweight fights going back, for the last 200 years. I mean,
Dana White said in a press conference that boxing needed this. The sport of boxing needed this.
Well, Dana, I'll agree to a certain point, but every big heavyweight fight, they're sold out.
Yeah.
Every big fight, the MGM, T-Mobile, they're sold out for these fights. Boxing, when it comes to the big fights, are good. But the boxing needed this. I'll tell you, boxing needed Tyson Fury. He's a character, a lovable character.
Yeah. Who's had ups and downs in his life and come back from it.
How about
depression?
How about 3 years off? The depression, drinking, drugs.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. He beat Klitschko.
Yep.
And very good, John.
Yeah. You like that?
You know.
You like that?
Yeah, you knew.
Let me ask you this, because I wrote this comment on a couple different Instagram posts, and people gave me a lot of backlash for it. I said, will they fight a fourth time? Mm-hmm. And people jumped on me like, are you an idiot? He's lost all three. Why would you say that? But that last fight
Why would you say? You know how much of a moneymaker?
Right.
You know how much of a moneymaker it'll be?
Right.
And I would think, of course, they're going
At some point, they run that back. Maybe not immediately.
You're going to put him against Anthony Joshua, who I don't know. He lost a fight. I mean, that was going to be the big fight, by the way.
Right.
Until they ran into this guy named Ruiz, who was out of shape, big guy. I don't know. I think it's a big moneymaker, and I think people will pay to see it again. And guess what? I'll be there again.
Which would be crazy, because I don't know if that's ever happened, right?
Yeah.
Someone that's lost a trilogy, all three fights to a trilogy, and get a fourth fight.
Well,
that's unheard of.
They got to draw the first one, but two.
Right, they got to draw the first one.
Based on the third results, I think there's a potential for that.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm glad you say that, because everyone jumped on. I was getting DMs like I'm an idiot, and I was like, it makes sense to me.
Did you watch the fight at all? Did you see it yet?
I've only seen highlights because my beloved Dodgers were playing on that same night.
Can you? I don't even know. Can you? Are they going to show it? I don't even know the story. Like behind the.
I don't know.
Do they show?
I'm sure you can still buy it. You can probably still buy it.
Yeah, maybe. But it was. Listen, I really enjoyed it. The undercards were okay, but the main event was great. It was. There wasn't. There wasn't the build-up. It felt like it was just going to be Fury. Come on, we know what's going to happen. He had a contract. He got lucky here. It's a money grab.
Yeah.
That's not what happened here. Like I said, this guy.
You know who we need to have on the show?
Who?
I know we already have a guest lined up for next week. But we need to have Stitch. I'm friends with Stitch Duran.
Okay.
The cut man.
Yep.
He's Tyson Fury's cut man.
Yep.
He'd be interesting to have on the show.
Yeah. Let's have him on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Because I went to one of the fights, I think it was 2 fights ago, when Fury fought Otto Wallen, and he had a gash on his face.
Yeah.
So was Stitch there then?
I think so. Yeah. I think he's been Tyson's cut man for a while.
That fight, I'm willing to say, if it wasn't Tyson Fury, the comical, everyone loving, singing character, the ref might have said it's over. Call the dock in.
Really?
So you're saying I really like to have that guy on my show.
Yeah. All right, I'll reach out. Let's segue to my beautiful Dodgers. You'll notice I'm in my celebration outfit.
Yeah, I noticed
this is my celebration.
Good man.
They came up big last night with a big win.
I need him to win.
Yeah.
I made some bets back when I thought that was really good odds. Bet about 3,500 on Dodgers to win the World Series plus 3.5 to 1, 375. And so I need him to win.
Last week,
I didn't hedge either. So.
On last week's show, they were about to fight for the wild card game against the Cardinals, the Dodgers. We were talking about how the Dodgers won 106 regular season games, or 106 games, and they had to face the sudden death game against the Cardinals. And I said the Dodgers will prevail, and they did.
Yeah.
And I still say, as we record this, the Dodgers will be playing tomorrow night, Thursday night, against the Giants in San Francisco, and the Dodgers will win that game, Bill Krackomberger. I promise you.
I'm actually surprised to see, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but considering the Dodgers were such favorites to win the World Series when the playoffs started, not just when I bet them, I'm surprised to see this last game. I guess San Fran is that good. San Fran is actually the favorite.
And shout out to Bill Krackomberger and Crack Wins, because I don't know if you're getting the credit publicly that you deserve. And we talked about this a few times on the show. a month into the season, you said, it's interesting, or maybe 2 months in, the Giants are 80-1 to win the World Series.
Unbelievable.
You literally said they're 80-1 to win the World Series. Then they went down. I'm foggy on the timeline, but not too long after that, they dropped down to 40-1. You were like, hey, they are still 40-1. I don't know if the public understands, even if they could have made so much money along the way.
They could hedge it right out.
Hedging it, but also betting the Dodgers to win, like you were saying, to win the World Series. To win the division, they were still probably 20-1 or something. Like, there's a lot of money you gave out for free on this show just by pointing that out.
Yeah, there was some good value there, but I didn't take advantage of it myself. I talked about it, so I kind of kicked myself for not taking advantage of it. I stuck with the Dodgers, but we'll see if they could beat the. Hopefully they get past. I'm rooting for them to win, of course, and get past the Braves, which I think the Braves is an easier series than San Fran.
Yeah. And that's another thing.
To say that.
And we talked about how it wasn't fair for the Dodgers to play, to basically fight for their life in a one-game playoff against the Cardinals. And even being a Dodger fan and anti-Giants, I would say the same thing. If the Dodgers won the division, it's not fair that the Giants could have been facing elimination from a one-game playoff. But let me ask you this, bigger picture. The Dodgers won 106 games regular season. The Giants won 107 games regular season. Do we need to reevaluate the postseason structure? And shouldn't the two teams with the best records be,
without a doubt,
shouldn't they be playing to advance to the World Series?
We really have to evaluate, because one of our notes here too, the most combined wins of any Major League Baseball playoff series ever. The first time that these two teams have ever met, first time they've ever met postseason, they have the best two records in baseball, and here we're going to eliminate one of them.
Right, before the World Series.
And even that one-game playoff thing, I hated it. I hated it. So, anyway, we'll see what happens. It all comes down to one game to take on the Braves.
Yeah. I'm excited.
NFL, last week.
NFL has...
Cardinals, only unbeaten team in the NFL, beat the 49ers. I thought the 49ers were going to give them a harder time. 17-10, it wasn't a blowout or anything, but I thought it was going to be... I would have bet on San Fran plus the points in this situation.
Yeah. The Cardinals play with a confidence, right? They move the ball. I don't want to compare anyone to Tom Brady, because you shouldn't. But when Brady has the ball and he's down or they need to score, you just believe it, whether you like him or not.
He's the guy I want behind.
He's the guy you want. And this guy, to me, does the same thing.
He's great.
He just marches down that field.
He's absolutely
fearless.
Great. Let's talk about these Survivor pools in town here. Now, Survivor, we have one at Circa here that started out with 4,000 people. I'll read you guys a text here. Started out with over 4,000 people. And this particular week, boy, I tell you, this week was amazing. A couple, 1,200 people out of the, by the way, it's down to 2,400 people. Half of them had Minnesota. Last second heroics by Minnesota. Detroit scores a touchdown, leaves too much time on the clock, and actually they may have scored a field goal, and leaves too much time on the clock, and Minnesota gets the ball back with like a minute and wins the game. Another 400 people being in Survivor being saved by Baltimore, and then that was on Monday Night Football. They had to make two touchdowns, two-point conversions, and then have Indy miss a field goal at the end. I mean, it was just amazing. And the Patriots too. The Patriots won their game. They were losing at the beginning. They won, but 1,800 entries get saved. Possibly, if those three teams lose, 2,039 entries get saved of the 2,400, and we're down to less than 400 entries after only 5 weeks, which would have been amazing. So. Literally hardly anyone got eliminated. So now we still have almost 2,400 entries in the big Survivor one here. $6 million to first place.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big.
One guy is going to get
$6 million as long as you're the last one that survives. This is giant that we almost lost 85% of the field in one day.
Right.
Now, I mean, it's amazing, really. So, what else? Let's see. Survivor pools. Okay, how about changing the guard in the AFC? The Bills went into Arrowhead. Beat Kansas City. Kind of handed it to the Chiefs too. I mean, the Chiefs just weren't. The Chiefs didn't look like the Chiefs. Maybe the Bills. That was a fluke game. I think week one in Pittsburgh. Possibly the Bills were overlooking that game. I mean, how can you overlook a game, against Roethlisberger? But maybe they were. They were overlooking that first game and lost it outright. And now they've come back like champions ever since that.
They look good.
Yeah, they look like they're headed to good places. So that's an interesting thing.
It's interesting to me how you take a team like the Chiefs that they looked so dominant a few years ago. Obviously, when they won a Super Bowl and back-to-back years where they just look incredible. It shows you how much talent there is in the league and how hard it is with pretty much the same players to repeat your performance year in and year out. Year after year.
Right.
It's hard.
Right, it is.
It's not automatic. People think, the Chiefs is automatic.
Oh,
and I'm one of those people too. At the beginning of the year.
Well, it's in the moment, so people live in the moment.
Right.
So normal tendencies to live in the moment. You see that. It's like when people bet live wagering. Mm-hmm. When they bet live wagering, they're living in the moment. They're seeing a team get a touchdown, and they say, "Oh my God, they're going to kill them, this team. I got to bet them. I got to bet them now."
Right.
We're actually the other side, the right side, long term.
Yeah.
Going against the grain, going against the public, thinking out of the box. So, but anyway, that's a story for another day. It's a great live wagering.
My Cowboys looking pretty good.
Before the show, I said they're 4-1.
Yeah. And the one almost is like a victory. I know that sounds silly, but
Tampa,
Brady marching down the field in the last minute or whatever it was, and first game.
Yeah.
Dak's first game. That's almost Dak's first spring training game. Give it the first game of the season. He didn't take really too many snaps.
They're looking good, man.
Yeah,
they're looking good. They look like the clear division winner too in that, as long as everyone stays healthy.
And, of course, it would be crazy if we didn't bring up the biggest news in the NFL.
What is that?
The Raiders are coachless. Well, I guess they have an interim coach.
It's unbelievable to think that we went to that game.
Yeah.
And they beat Baltimore that game. Then they come out the next week and beat the Dolphins.
Yep.
3-0.
Yep.
The town's on fire. Everything's great. Now they go 0-2 when they lose their head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he resigned.
We don't even have to get into what happened with him, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are from a betting standpoint. How could the line possibly be right for the next 2 or 3 games with the Raiders? Because don't you have to factor in, obviously, it's a different coach. Even though I think it's the interim coach is a guy that's been there, right? But and then emotionally, what that does to players, and it has to factor in. So how do you is it stay away from the Raiders? Don't either way. What do you do?
They're a 3.5-point dog on the road to Denver, who was much improved there for their first few games. They've lost the last couple, but. I think it's going to be a very tough game for them. They're going to have to step up and say, guys, let's get together and with our interim coach here and have to step up and see what happens here. But I actually need them to win 7 games, which looks like an easy win, 3-0. I mean, they're not going to win another 4 games of their, of the next.
And now you're
10
worried.
Games.
Are you worried a little, or?
Yeah, I mean. I don't worry about gambling things. In the end, it's what's going to happen is going to happen. But
it's definitely changed the trajectory of the year for them, right? I mean,
it may have.
Right.
It may have. So
maybe they all bound together, and this is something that brings them closer. And
that happens
that's the
sometimes.
thing, the human element. You never know, right?
DraftKings put odds up on the coaches here. Who's gonna be the next coach? So DraftKings has put some odds up. I took a photo of that. And we're going to see Eric Bieniemy's 5-1 favorite. Brian DeBall's 5-1 also. And there's another dozen guys or so on DraftKings. So we'll see what happens there. Just these sports books right away, taking advantage of something to put odds on.
Right.
So anyway, we'll see what happens there, and then odds on the next coach. And all right, let's get on to the Crack Wins app.
Hey,
I'll let you.
Wow.
I'll let you talk about that a little bit, because I don't like talking about myself.
I know you don't. I know you don't. Well, the crazy thing is I get the reports from all of my friends that follow the Crack Wins app that are subscribers, loyal subscribers. I mentioned Johnny Cocktails a couple weeks ago.
Right.
He called me and was like, "Crack's on fire." That's how he says it too. He calls me up. He doesn't say no hello, nothing. Johnny boy, Crack's on fire. fire. And basketball starting up.
Yes.
Which, a lot of the sports cappers, if you will, they're just heavy football, and that's where it ends.
Well, they do. But however, basketball is like my wheelhouse. College basketball. We're down to 3 weeks. So I think 3 weeks from now, I'm looking forward to it too. We're gonna have some really great stuff. Got some great stuff in the works here. Also NBA, we've done very good the last seasons in NBA. So.
Are there prop bets in NBA?
There are, but I don't really do too many props.
It's more point totals?
It's more totals.
Totals, not even sides?
Very rare, but I'll do sides. But totals is the thing. So
finding that edge, you have with your info.
Yeah, good stuff. And listen, the line movement's unbelievable. You get, but the line movement equals wins at the end of the year. That's the main thing. So crackwins.com and the CrackWins app. Looking forward to continue success there. And
I saw some numbers over the last 3 seasons of NBA. CrackWins has averaged a 65 unit profit per season.
NBA
for NBA.
Yeah, NBA's totals.
That's
been great.
huge.
It's great.
Yeah,
totals have been really good. I plan to do that in college basketball this year, though.
Really?
We've had some unbelievable years. It's 60% years, which is really hard to do.
Yeah.
I'm happy with like 56, 57%. It's going to make me and my guys a lot of money.
I love when you say that, and I won't say any names, but, there's other guys out there, and I see their posts on Instagram talking about 75% winners, 87. I saw one the other day, 87% winners.
That's ridiculous.
It's impossible.
It's a shame that these kids get taken, these new people to the game, and all these new jurisdictions. So it brings all these new people that never bet sports before. Oh, wow. He hit 70%. I got to go with him.
Yeah.
It's just all what they say there. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow, man. So CrackWins app, you can go to crackwins.com and you can sign up. You can also get it, obviously, on Apple Store or Google Play. Download the app today and get in the winner's circle with Krackomberger, which leads me to my next item up for bid, which is, of course, I see you're on there right now. You're on. I can see it on the iPad right now, WSN.com.
I looked at it earlier, but I see I'm on it now, WSN.com. Great stuff here again, as usual. I always say this has more stories and more articles than anywhere that I see, anywhere. So just go to WSN.com. You'll see them, predictions, odds, news. And all news, you can go down the lower. All news is the different jurisdictions that have the sports betting. There's an article on Connecticut there, which was supposed to start taking wagers on the 7th, October 7th, and it hasn't. It's delayed a little bit, a couple weeks. Always something going on with these jurisdictions with politics. They always get in the way of this. So I see this article here, though, on WSN. Sports betting app downloads grew by 183% in September, according to Morgan Stanley.
Wow.
So that number is even going to continue to grow. But there's a great article on that. More betting news, and, of course, there's the bonuses that are on here. I see that Caesars extended their $5,000, which was supposed to stop on September 30th, but not if you go to WSN.com. That is extended again. Caesars $5,000 risk-free bets. Of course, you can go to your jurisdiction, and you can click on New Jersey here, and I'll see there's so many in Jersey, but you can go to all the different states, click on Illinois, Colorado, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, go on and on and on each state, and you can see these ridiculous bonuses on WSN.com. The DraftKings 1,000, Bet365 500 in bet credits, BetMGM 1,000 risk-free bet. PointsBet, 1,000 risk-free bet. Unibet, I can keep on going.
It's unbelievable.
There's a dozen of them here. So, yeah.
Have you noticed that too? That was interesting. With more and more states now opening up sports betting, I'm sure that's helped CrackWins too, as our subscribers, right?
Of course, it's going to. We're going to help people win. And people work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Why should you have to go try to do the research? You probably don't have even the tools or skill sets to do it. So you come through us. Absolutely.
I love it. Okay. Yeah, so questions. Where are we here? Twitter questions. Okay. Okay, Kevin Davis asks, how much should you bet on player props compared to totals and sides to keep the sports books happy?
To keep the sports book happy is the really the fine line there, Kevin. And I know who Kevin is, good guy. If you have an app, it's different than the counter. The counter, Kevin, get as much as you can get in. But believe it or not, you have to play a little cat and mouse here. with the sports books. And if you're on an app, because they'll look at your app, which is a blueprint of what you've done before. Maybe you want to bet. Make sure you bet some NFL games in there and some. Just make your account look as square as you can if you're going to bet a lot of props. Even though the props are there, to play. Right. If you bet too many props, they're going to say you're a prop specialist if you win. So
so crazy.
He's absolutely right. You want to make your account look a little bit square if you're betting these apps and you want to bet some NFL stuff. Even if it's smaller bets, you want to mix them in there to the NFL props, which have a bigger edge. Good question.
And is that also, so are you trying to disguise not just the winnings or win-loss, but you're also just want a bunch of bets so that if someone's scrolling through your account on the back end over there,
at least they can look that you're not betting props only.
Right.
That's what they don't. That's what they don't care for.
Wow. Yep. You're not allowed to win these casinos, huh?
Yeah. We want losersonly.com.
God forbid you win.
God forbid. God forbid.
All right. CISI Consigliere asks, what's the key rollover numbers to negotiate when taking a sportsbook bonus? If a book is offering 100% match at 10 times rollover, is that considered good value?
I mean, I'm a professional gambler. I'm a professional sports bettor. I'm going to win in the end anyway. So I wouldn't 100% match. Absolutely, I would do that with a 10-time rollover. I would.
So can you explain that to the people? So, example,
sure.
I told a few friends a few years ago when I was working with a sports sports betting site for Action Junkies. They were matching their deposit bonus 100% up to $1,000 deposit. And so I got a couple friends did that. They won. They tried to withdraw money, and they couldn't yet because they hadn't made enough bets, right? Is that what this is
correct.
Speaking to?
That's correct.
Can you
So if you deposit $1,000,
yeah.
He's saying you have to put in $10,000 in wagers to get your bonus out of it. So if you deposit $1,000, you're going to have $2,000 in the account. You have to roll it over 10 times before you can withdraw any money.
Right.
But if you're going to win long term, if you're betting 2, 3, 4% of your bankroll,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to, if
you're trying to do a hit and run,
if you're trying to do a hit and run, no, that's not good. The key rollover numbers. There's most of the sports books, believe it or not, have a 1-time or 2-time rollover. With giving you $1,000 free. So, or whatever it is, $500 free. So make sure you know exactly what your bonuses are before you put your money in, and know what your rollover is.
Okay, very good. The Shark Capper asks, after that great heavyweight fight last week, what do you think about the status of boxing, and will it ever return to the level it was in the past?
Probably never to the level that it was in the past. I mean, the great times that I've had in my life is when I was in high school or even grade school, and you had the great Sugar Ray, Leonard, Duran, Hearns, Hagler. That time period I don't think we'll ever get back in our life. But then again, I shouldn't say that because things happen all the time. But for a heavyweight level, this was this was really a big fight for the town, like we said earlier, a big fight for the sport, like you said, Dana White said. So I think for right now, I think we're in a good spot with boxing. I think boxing is has a big light over top of it right now. People hearing about this fight. You understand, Fury's a character. He's singing after the fight. He's we're in a good place. Yeah, we're in a good place.
Okay, well, this was fun. Before we sign off, though, you're going on a little field trip to L.A.?
Yes, the super fan that I am, going to L.A., the new SoFi Stadium to see the Rolling Stones again. So the Stones, they may be getting old, but this might be the last tour. So I'm going there tomorrow night. I have ridiculous seats. Here's the runway. Let's say this table's the runway.
Right.
I have a seat about 8 to 10 feet from the first seat. I'm sorry. It's actually that first seat is taken. I'm in the second seat. So right there, which is literally 8 feet from Jagger when he's up and down the runway.
Now I'm confused because I went to a Raider game with you, thanks to you, in this incredible suite, and we were looking down at the field, and you were talking about concerts, and you were like, I don't like to be down there for a concert. I have to have a seat. I have to be up here in the suite.
Now, wait a minute.
I don't want to stand down there.
Well, because now the concerts like Guns N' Roses I went to a couple weeks earlier, the concerts all have standing room pits now in the front. No more seats in the front.
Got it.
So now they have these pits where you have to stand the whole 3-4 hours. And Guns N' Roses was 4 hours.
Right.
So I'd rather have a seat. But if there's seats where I can sit next to a stage and be that close, I mean, that's where I want to be.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I got a couple Keith Richards guitar picks and Ronnie Wood guitar picks. Yeah, I want to be there.
A little high five here and
this
there.
This is going to be a surprise for you. And we're going to close the show with this.
Okay.
All right. I have 2 seats for tomorrow night. And I was going to bring you.
Stop.
But you know the big conflict.
You going to say poker? No. Oh, Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
I can't go tomorrow night.
What?
Were you really going to bring me? I can't.
You could or can't?
I can't. I get my Dodgers.
Yeah, you know, that's what our producer, our lawyer said here.
I love you for that, though.
Yeah, I have 2 seats.
You're killing me, Crack.
2 seats, steps away from. You'll never get this close again. And these are band hold seats. The band gets these seats to give out. So I had that's why I'm going there because I'm not going to be able to get the seat in Vegas. In Vegas, the seats are about 5,000, about 4,000 each.
Wow.
In Vegas, yeah. So even tomorrow night, these seats I seen them for like $3,500 each. I mean, it's ridiculous. But all right. Well, if you don't want to go, I'll find somebody.
Oh my God, you're killing me!
No, I was really going to take
you. You really were?
Yeah, I swear. Even right now, if you think about it, after the Dodgers come on 3 hours earlier because the Stones don't take the stage till 8:45. You know, by that time it'll be like 4 extra innings, but that's all right.
No, the Dodgers are 7:00 game.
Oh, I thought it was 6:05.
Oh, maybe it is. Okay, 6:05. Yeah, you're right. 6:05. You're right.
6:05. Yeah, 6:05. Stones take the stage 8:45. But I know you probably have an atmosphere you want to be with.
You're killing me.
Yeah. Have you? I mean, you know who the Rolling Stones are, right? You've seen them. Have you ever seen them? No, you never really.
Yeah, I actually saw them in Springfield, Missouri.
You haven't seen them this close.
No, I haven't seen them that close. No.
So you let me know. And
oh my God!
We'll see you next week.